All right, everybody, welcome back to the Reel Down live on Monday nights. I happen to have a different host tonight. If you can tell, it's not Gimli. It's not the redheaded bearded wonder. We have Mr. Armando Sola from Kayak Bass and Beers. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having you on, my show. I try to fill in Skinner's shoes as best as I can. I know some big shoes to fill in,
They're tiny shoes.
I don't have that great look, that sex appeal that, brings the female crowd to the show, but I'm doing what I can, man.
Oh Lord, don't tell him that. He'll be coming back. He's riding high right now. He's down at the beach.
That's what he should. That's what he should.
Yeah, he's down at the beach right now, just being like, "Hey, I'm sexy. All right, I like that."
There you go.
So yeah, but and what's the other? I don't want to mispronounce it. It's Ramos. Yeah,
okay. So we got the Paddle and Fin in Spanish, which airs every other Sunday. So that's Remos en Aleta, which is literally translated Paddle and Fin in Spanish. So we're pretty excited about that. I was very surprised to see the reaction that we got of it. I'll have to ask Brian how much listeners we got on that first episode, but I noticed on YouTube we got like 61 views in like 24 hours, which we're a podcast. We usually don't get a lot of views on YouTube, so it's pretty awesome, man. And I'm happy about it. We want to grow the sport everywhere, so the more the sports grow, the best for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And tonight, not only are you a co-host on the show, but you have a giveaway.
I have a giveaway. Yes, 1,000 followers giveaway. So I'm pretty excited about that. I don't want to take too much time because I know we got some guests, but yeah, MW Fishing won the giveaway. So MW Fishing, I think MW stands for Matt Wallace Fishing. If I'm looking at the Instagram now, you won the giveaway. Thank you so much to you and everybody that took part in the giveaway. Awesome giveaway. Thanks to Fun and Sun Tackle for sponsoring the giveaway. Douglas bait and spin casting rods. Who else? Huddlestone provided also from Fun and Sun Tackle. 9K Lures got a gift card in. So Angler, we're getting an Angler Bullseye button. So thank you to all those companies, man. It's an awesome giveaway. Really glad I was able to put that together. So congratulations on MW Fishing. If you're listening, send me a DM. I'll respond later today or tomorrow. If not, I'll send you a DM tomorrow on Instagram. So thank you again.
Very cool. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. Something we never get to do is we never get to highlight the West Coast anglers like we want.
Yep.
There's just so many tournaments. It's hard to cover everybody. But yeah, tonight we're talking about the Hobie B.O.S. that was on the California Delta, not Delta. And where'd they even Delta? That's not even a thing. So, but yeah, so the three people that we were supposed to have on the first place, Daniel Balaba, we wasn't able to have him on. He was planning to come on, but something happened with work, and that's why it's a live show. It happens. But we are fortunate enough to be graced by in second place, Mr. Pui Yang and John Myers, who got third place. So congratulations to y'all, and thank y'all for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to talk tidal fishery. We're going to talk California, and we're going to see some of the differences and highlight a couple of anglers that where's this coming from? But we're going to talk to people that we haven't talked before on the show. No Cody Milton or Jody Queen or Kurt Smiths tonight. It's two fresh new faces, so we're looking forward to that. But so like we do with every show, first we'll start out with how you got into kayak fishing and just kind of about yourself. We'll start with you, John.
John, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. So tell us about yourself and how you got into kayak fishing.
So I'm 57. A buddy of mine named Steve Meanlander 2 years ago said, "Hey, you want to fish a kayak tournament?" sure, why not? And he goes, I got a kayak for you. And anyways, first time I was ever in a kayak, I was at Lake McClure, and it was pretty scary. A little sketchy getting in the boat, getting out of the boat, setting the
Little
hook.
nippy.
There's a lot of a learning curve. Yeah. So, he hooked me. I really liked it. It was one-on-one with nature. It was you against the fish, not you against the anglers. Hey, when you set the hook in a kayak and you got a big one on, the kayak moves forward. The fish goes to your right. The kayak turns to the right. It's crazy. You get in a bass boat, you're standing there, you have leverage, and you could really, well on them, and the kayak not so much, pitching, punching, is very difficult. Do I stand up in my kayak? Not yet. I'm, kind of afraid because I'm kind of aggressive hook setter. So, I sit down and punching and sitting down is comical at best.
Wear out your shoulders.
Everything in a kayak that you do, right? Everything you do in a kayak, and I give a lot of credit for these kayak anglers. It's difficult to fish out of a kayak. There's a huge learning curve, and I love it. I got hooked. I've been tournament fishing since 1986. Bought my first bass boat then. Couldn't catch any fish on the lake. Joined the Merced Bass Club. Learned a lot from a lot of weathered anglers, and I've been competing ever since. I love it. I really do love it a lot. It's a lot of fun, especially the kayak tournaments.
There you go. All right, so like you were telling us earlier, Pua, this was your first tournament. So your kayak fishing is has a very short history, but tell us all about yourself, man.
Yeah, kayak fishing in general, I probably started about 2 years ago, at least. And my cousin, he lent me one. It was a paddle kayak. So for me, I've always loved fishing in general. So it was a platform that was brand new to me, and it was kind of hard at first because you're trying to paddle and make that perfect cast. And after a while, I just kind of adjusted to it, and I got used to it, and everything. But like what John was saying, my first actual experience on the water was on a bass boat when my brother had one, and everything became totally different because I had to get shorter rods for the kayak, and you know, um, just kind of it was a little bit different. And then, long story short, when I saw that Hobie was coming to the Delta, it's like, man, I gotta do this one. I mean, it's probably gonna be my first event, but hey, the Delta,
Go big, man.
yeah, like for me and most guys here in California or in the Northern California part, it's our backyard. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give this a shot. And, here I am.
So and what kind of kayaks are y'all out of? That's something that's always interesting. Joe?
Yeah.
Go
Ahead, John.
Go ahead, man.
So last year in July, a week before the 360 came out, I bought a PA12. A week later, the 360 came out. I'm not saying I bought one, but I researched it a bunch. I did some test drives on a few different kayaks, and I really liked the way the pedal drive worked. It goes through weeds really well. Very stable platform, and it's set up for fishing. You know what I mean? It has the little rod holders. It's got parts for your transducer. I actually put a trolling motor on the back of mine, which you couldn't use. It wouldn't have helped anyhow. I was fishing such thick weeds. It would have done me no good at whatsoever. But I started in a Hobie Outback, and that was my buddy let me use his. I liked how that boat handled the PA bigger platform, so a little more comfortable in it. You know, you can move around a little bit compared to the Outback.
Yeah. And how about you, Pua? What are you rocking, man?
You know, it's funny. My wife actually bought me a 2020 Outback for my birthday in May, and
Good wife.
That's
the
a keeper.
yeah,
Both.
yeah, and
And the wife.
yeah, and I've only been on a pedal drive kayak once for like 10 minutes, but then I was in love with fishing in general. So when she got me the Outback, I was like, you know what? It's gonna be game on. So yeah, I got a 2020 Outback, and that's what I'm riding.
You look like a light dude, like an Outback price suit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have all that weight. Like, I need something big, you know. Like,
You know what's funny is ever since I started kayak fishing, I lost 20 pounds.
okay.
So it's been a workout for me, as well as you know, a new fishing platform for me.
Yeah.
How old are you? Well,
Me, I'm 36.
30. Oh, really?
He just looks young.
Younger than that.
Dude, you look like you're about 25.
Yeah, yeah, I get that a lot. Yeah, I get that a lot.
Okay. So the first question I have is, why was there only 50 anglers in the event? What was it? Is that all the permits that they could get was for 50 anglers? Because all the other Hobie events, they had, you know, over 100. It was curious, and it was exactly 50. So I figured it was probably a permit problem, right?
I think John can probably answer that for you.
You know, that's a good question. I was wondering the same thing. I figured there'd be 250 boats. To be honest with you, I don't think there's a limit on the anglers. Not quite sure why. I think possibly people might have been intimidated, maybe, to go to the Delta and compete there compared to competing at a lake. You know, Delta's not an easy place to fish. Everything looks the same. Everything looks like it's going to have fish in it. However, that's not the case. There's fish in specific locations, and 1,000 miles of waterway. Can you get lost in there? Yes. Can you go crazy fishing all these different areas, all the launch ramps, going on levees, you know, hoping your truck's still there when you get back? Yes. Can it be dangerous? With all the boating traffic, you have offshore racing boats going up and down the channel 80, 100 miles an hour. So, you know, you're in a kayak with a flag on it. So you really have to pick your locations well and stay out of people's way. And so I'm not really quite sure why they only got 50 or 51 people. I really wish they would have got more. And I hope Hobie comes back next year, and maybe we could maybe get some more anglers. I don't know if it's the cost it pushed people away or what, but I really wish we could have got a lot more anglers out there.
Because I saw 50, I thought maybe y'all would know the issue. I'll have to reach out to AJ and find out, because they always do have great turnout. Maybe it was a little bit suppressed because a lot of people on the West Coast, because you're only fishing one event, it's not as important for the Angler of the Year points of trying to get into TOC. So, you know, maybe I brought a few people down. But here, we'll go ahead and go over it. So on, let me put this here. So on,
for some reason, you're real choppy.
Am I? Okay. Well, here, let me put you out of the room and then bring you right back.
Yeah, I think
okay.
in regards to the 50 anglers only for the Hobie event, I think there's a lot of events that is going on during August in terms of kayak tournaments, and guys had to pick and choose which tournaments they wanted to do. So like I think some guys they just chose not to do the Delta because, like what John says, it is pretty intimidating, you know, and you can't. It looks like a place where you can just go out there and catch fish anywhere, but it's not like that. And because of the pandemic too, there's been so many boaters, wreck boaters, and fishing boats, and just everybody out there. And so I think the Delta's been totally, just pressured to the max. So it's not as easy as it would be per se a Clear Lake or any of the
Yeah. One of
bigger
the
lakes that. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll go over all the numbers here. So on day one, Daniel, who got first, isn't able to be here because of work. He had 94.5 day one. David Larson was in second with 87.5. Obadiah Williams, old what Yonder Gang, that guy.
Yeah, the people's champ.
Yeah, the people's champ. He went to the Hobie Worlds last year. So
He did.
Yeah, he had 87 and a quarter.
He did.
John, you got fourth, and Pui, you were in 19th after day one with 77 and a quarter. And then on day two, you had the big bag of the the big bag of the day with 89 and 3/4. Daniel had 86.5, and then John, you were back in fifth with 82 and 3/4, which was only a few inches behind. And then overall, Daniel had 181. Pua, you had 167, and then John 166 and a quarter. So, yeah, big numbers. I mean, for a 2-day tournament anywhere, that's from 180 to 166. That's some legit numbers for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Pua, so how did it feel for you? This is your first tournament. When you say first tournament, like nationwide tournament, Hobie, B.O.S, KBF, Bassmasters, or just in general, your first kayak fishing tournament?
Yeah, my first kayak fishing tournament.
Your first one. How does it feel for you knowing that you were going up against guys like Russ Snyder, Greg Blanchard? I'm not sure if Cody Milton was on that one, but still, I mean, Greg Blanchard is a local legend over there. Russ Snyder is ranked #1 in the world, or at least in the United States. How does it feel for you to be in this position? Is it surreal? Are you like a fan of the sport itself, of the tournament scene, or you just like going kayak fishing?
So I do keep up with these guys too, and
Awesome.
and I do watch their stuff on YouTube. And funny thing is, during pre-fish week, I was in my main area to pre-fish and Snyder's, and I was like, man, this is pretty crazy, man, to see him back here in my spot. But yeah, that guy, man, look at it as a competition more. Say, I think for me it was more like, let's go fish and see what we could do. This is my first event, and these guys, including like OBD Williams and some of the other guys that were on that were part of the tournament. There's sticks out there, and they can hammer him. So I wasn't necessarily trying to compete with trying to just catch fish, and I was looking for some of the guys to blow it away, but it's tough fishing out there.
Yeah. And John, so since you have so much, you've been fishing for a long time. Can you kind of, for anybody that hasn't seen it on YouTube or anything else, kind of give us an overlay of the Delta and what fishing like there's like being tidal and all that good stuff?
Yeah. So the river system is pretty vast. First of all, so I pre-fished down south by Tracy. I even went into Modesto, which is the furthest south you could go in this tournament. I scouted out some areas there a few weeks back. I went over the levee at Tracy, and I found that the tide would just go out the whole day. And they put up this levee to push the water back to keep water in the rivers and try to keep them full. Instead of it all going into Clifford Court Bay. And then I pre-fished over by White Slough, Disappointment. That's like kind of the central northern. I pre-fished by Frank's Track. Wasn't really impressed with any of those. and I decided I'm going to go to Big Break and give it a try. Well, to my surprise, fishing was phenomenal. Catching 30, 40 fish was pretty easy. And I think it's a numbers game. You know, you catch enough fish, you're going to get bigger fish. And if you're around fish, you're going to do well. And that's the key to any tournament. You know, obviously, if you throw a big bait and you get 5 bites, then you're a hero. But you could go to a big fat 0 really quick, too. So where I was fishing was west, and that was in the Big Break area. I launched at a Big Break marina both days. Basically went out, took the first right, made another right, and went as far as I could, all the way to this bluegill bed. And the fish were there eating bluegills, and I was throwing a chatterbait. And the tide difference between where I was at and south is like 3 hours. So I did the best on the outgoing tide, but I wanted the incoming tide as well. And the incoming tide is where you get those bigger topwater fish in the weed mats, or you could punch them out of the hyacinth with the pennywort. And for me, once the tide went out, I picked up my drive, my rudder, my skag, and I paddled for an hour to get in against the wind, against the current, to get to deeper water. And the second day, the first day where I hit, yeah, it was really difficult. Yeah, it was a workout. I don't mind it. It was fun. But the first day where I had punched some nice fish that actually didn't help my bag, which would have helped my bag on the second day, was less than a foot of water. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I have to go even further. So I paddled and paddled and paddled. I actually saw this bass boat. And I had this thought in my head, like, man, I'll pay you $20 to tow me in, but you can't do that. You know, it's against the rules. So I'm struggling.
No mothership.
If I were to take a drink of water, my kayak would turn around and I'd lose like 10 feet, 15 feet. You know, just take a sip of water. And then I'm like, it was so hot out there, and I'm paddling and paddling. Finally, I get deep enough water, I could put my fins back in and start pedaling. So I'm pedaling and paddling now. Okay, I finally get to some deep water, get in some water hyacinth. And the key was in the afternoon, when the tide came in, the biggest key for me was the hyacinth with the pennywort. If there was a piece of hyacinth, I was sure to punch the hyacinth, because that's where I would get the bites. Underneath the water, the hyacinth has a different root than the pennywort. It's long, stringy. That root underneath the hyacinths, it's kind of
a little more cover,
like long, like and has like a little root system. Yeah, a little more cover. And you know, I got bit once, and I was like, okay, that's got to be it. And I got bit twice. I'm like, that's it, you know. So I beat up this one little area. I caught a couple fish. Then I moved again. I probably moved another 300-400 yards. And I went down this bank. I caught a 20.5 incher with a half an hour to go. And it was the best decision I made in 2 days. The first day, you know, I caught them all on chatterbaits. And then once the tide went out, I kept throwing the chatterbait. And I was like, okay, I'm not getting bit. So I started throwing the frog on the weed beds. And those fish didn't help me. So I said, okay, I'm going to go punch. You know, the frogfish were fun, but they didn't help, you know. So again, that's the key about this tidal system. You know, you got to fish the conditions. 15 minutes ago is different than 15 minutes from now. So you really have to adjust as you go, especially with the tide dropping. All the milfoil and the hydrilla lay over, plus hippie grass. The hippie grass was the key for my frogfish. And that's the hippie grass laid over, and those frogfish. I was throwing a Mullix frog, and I'd get it and rip it, and it make like splashes like bait fish, and they would just they just blow up on it, and it was just insane. And you know, people say to use shorter rods. I tell you what, if I didn't have my 7'11" rod, I would have never got those fish out of that stuff. An 8-foot rod. Or you know, anything less than 8 foot is really hard to get in a kayak because you're getting pulled with, you know what I mean? You're pulling yourself to the fish. You're not like a boat where you lift the fish out of it and ski them on top. The fish get underneath there and you really got to crank them down. So I was using long rods with the long handles. I put them underneath my armpit for leverage. You know, myself, I like the longer rods. I like the longer butts, you know, so I could get the leverage underneath my armpit, you know, and that's part of, you know, fighting the fish. Otherwise, you have to point your rod at the fish and reel in, you know, like crank it in like it's, you know, but it won't come, you know what I mean? And I tried the shorter rods. I have a 7.4 frog rod that St. Croix makes, and I just really couldn't get those fish up. So I decided to go with a 7.11, and it's called a Big Gulp rod. It's a tournament series St. Croix rod, and I was able to get them on top. And it was a chore. Now punching the hyacinth in a kayak is comical at best. Would you agree, pal?
Yeah.
And to punch fish in a kayak. So the first fish I punched, right? I had it in the air and it's swinging around my head. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to hit the spool so I could get it in my lap, right? You can't net it. And I'm like, I got this 16-inch fish swinging around my head. You know, my big one that I punched on the second day, it was matted up in the hyacinth. And when I set the hook, it was right next to me. So I just grabbed my line. I put my rod above me, grabbed my line, and just pulled it into the boat, hyacinth and all, you know. And I'm looking down, kind of chuckling, saying, you know, if that would have been on camera, people would have been laughing, like, really? You know,
it's a beautiful chaos, like
really
they say.
Difficult.
Yeah.
So
it is chaos. Yeah.
I'm with you too. I don't get into the real short frog rods. That's not my deal. But you were saying that you have a particular chatterbait setup that you had it there with you. What is it that you like in your chatterbait setup?
Yeah, here, let me show you. I got all my stuff right here.
Man's prepared.
See, that's how I want this room to look, right there, where I can have like 50 rods behind me.
I got like my kids' toys. I don't have any rods here.
Yeah, I'm in my kids' room, so
this
I'm with you, man.
Yeah, this is my den and my fishing garage. So this is a Legend Tournament St. Croix rod. It's called a Magnum Cranker. Regretfully, they don't make this rod anymore. But so 65-pound braided line on a chatterbait. This rod sits there and just does this, right? And I'm watching the rod. If the rod stops, I set the hook. You don't necessarily feel the fish hit it, but because of the action and it stops, the fish has got it. So this is a chatterbait. It's a jackhammer. This is the exact bait I used both days.
Gotta love those jackhammers.
Yeah, they're really good baits. This is a Z-Man. Yeah, a Z-Man. Same trailer for 2 days. I probably caught 60 fish off of this in 2 days. This is has a little red in it with the green pumpkin. Color in shallow water makes a difference. In deep water, I don't think it makes any difference. But to the fisherman, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
So this little bit of red right here on the Delta, there's a lot of crawdads and red crawdads, and that's their main forage. Besides, you know, obviously the bluegills and so on, and little bait fish. And by the way, as I was paddling back, thousands and thousands and thousands of fish I saw on the way back, and I was in like a foot of water the whole way paddling. So you got up close and you got to see a lot of things. A few clam beds, not many. Most of the stuff I was fishing was soft bottom, but where I did the best was the bluegill beds with hard bottom. And there was like one little section in that area that had that. And on the second day, I got on them good and caught a lot of fish. And then I had a punt. I mean, after a while, you just keep catching the small fish, and you know, you got to adjust and try to get those bigger ones, but you got to get that limit, and then keep going. You know, calling up.
Upgrades.
Up.
What for you
upgrades.
was the did you did any adjustments for the second day that got you that power move to move you to second place? Were you just doing the same thing and just happened to have the bite was on that day?
Yeah, so you know, me being the rookie that I am, I guess I'll tell the story leading into that.
Go ahead.
That first day, I went to my first spot, and the gates were shut. The gates were closed. The place was closed. And I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do now? Because everything that I had rigged up was for specifically for that spot. Not that I couldn't use it at my backup spots, but I'd be more limited to be using the stuff that I had rigged up for my first spot. And so I decided, should I wait or should I pack up and just, or should I not even unpack and just go to my second spot, which was what I did after pondering for about 15, 20 minutes. So I went ahead and went to my second spot, and I fished the South Delta, and which is dirty water. And so I decided to go down there and just kind of junk fish, because like everything was, all my bait choices was kind of thrown out the window, if you would say. So I was just power fishing that first day and just trying to get a limit, like John was saying, you know, just hurry up and limit and cold fish. And it was a disaster being my first tournament. I must have had like 5 or 6 fish hop off the catch board, and they were cold fish too. And it was a disaster for me. And lost fish, send the hook, and but I was able to manage the 77 1/4 inches. And you know, that night when I came home, I told myself, you know what, I think tomorrow guys are gonna, especially, you know, the sticks out on the Delta, they're probably gonna smash them tomorrow. I didn't even bother looking at the weather conditions because I was so exhausted from the heat. I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go out there and go fishing. Who cares what happens, you know? So I just went back to, I was gonna go back to my original spot the first day that I had planned for, but I didn't want to gamble with the gate being closed or open. So I said, you know what, just let me go back out to my south area, which I did. And funny thing was, getting there, it was, when I got closer to the marina, it got super windy. I was like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, actually on my way there, I saw lightning and thunder. And then when I got there, that was when the wind kicked in. I was like, oh my God, this cannot be happening right now. So I was like, okay, just let me go ahead and put the kayak in the water. And, you know, the water was choppy and everything. And I was like, this might be a bad day for me. But as it got closer to the to 6 a.m., which was lines in, the weather started stabilizing, it started calming down, and I was like, okay, let's go fishing. So what I did differently the second day, and I think it made a real big difference for me too, I slowed way down. I worked areas. Most of the areas I was fishing was it was a hydrilla line, like all along the whole bank. And I think apart, like after I catch a fish, I would have that spot visually marked in my head and say, you know what, go back and start from there. And 3 key baits for me. Number one, and flipping or punching a beaver, and a sweet beaver and a D-bomb, and a spinner bait for running through the lanes of the sparse hydrilla that was in the grass that allowed me to run it through. Yeah, I just picked everything apart slowly, and when I saw an opening, I'd pitch in the Senko when there was too much grass. Actually, the key areas for me to flip or punch was the mixed grass, like the reeds with a little bit of hyacinth on top and the hydrilla around it. Those are really key for me. I mean, my 18 and my 16, they came out of those types of areas.
And that's just kind of always all around. I mean, mixed grass, different kinds of, like you were saying, John was saying pennywort and the hyacinth, and you're saying the reeds and the yeah, that mixed grass area is always something.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, what I like to do prior to getting those higher percentage areas was fish it before you get there, so that you can get those bonus fishes before you even get there. So yeah, man. I mean, the second day, I to answer your question, Armando, I really slowed down. I really just slowed down and I just went fishing, you know. And I think by 10:30 or 11, when the tide was a little bit past halfway going out, I had my limit already, you know, and that was pretty much it for me.
How do you felt when you know lines out? How were you surprised to finish second place after after looking back at your first day second base? Were you surprised that you ended up so high, or was it something that you expected once lines was out on the last day?
I was really shocked after I caught my limit, and I took a look at the standings, and I was in disbelief, but then at the same time, I was like, you know what? These guys that are sticks out here, they probably haven't even submitted their fish yet, you know, and they probably have a good bag. So I was like, you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah, just waiting.
Like, right. And you know, I just told myself, you know what? You did the best you could, you know. It's your first event ever, and it is what it is, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dan?
So did y'all both qualify for the TOC?
Yes.
Are y'all both going?
I'm sorry.
Did you qualify? Did third place qualify for a tournament?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Do y'all both plan to go?
Top three qualified.
Top three. Yeah.
I'm going to look into the logistics of it all, and then you know, it's a one in a lifetime opportunity. So I think we all should, right? We worked hard to get where we're at.
Probably be over $40,000. Yeah.
Pooh, are you gonna go?
Yeah, I'm going. It's a lifetime experience for me, you know. And I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to see how these guys do out there. I mean, everybody that's going, you know, they're gonna be, they're sticks, you know, they're hammers. And then, you know, that's Russ's. Like, I was joking around with Russ because he texted me yesterday. He's like, "Are you gonna come to Tennessee?" I was like, you know what? Only if you show me around.
if you've never been, Tennessee is like, truly is a beautiful place. I mean, there's so many places to go and check out. Smoky Mountains, Pigeon Forge, all that. Like, you can go see all Knoxville. I mean, it's a beautiful town too, but a lot of nice stuff to go see while you're at it.
Yeah.
And all that money, and I know you get a bunch of swag. Like last year, they got a big swag bag and all that. TOC and Hobie, they do it right.
Oh yeah.
What did it mean for you guys? Because I know there's going to be people out there going to say, well, there are only 50 anglers, home court advantage, Delta is a different monster. So there might be naysayers going to take away from your wins and your standings. And that's fine. That happens. But what did it mean for you to go to the TOC and at least do a good or respectable showing? Is that something that you want to say, hey, I know it was only 50 anglers. Yes, I know I had home court advantage, but I want to prove that I am out, you know, that I can compete toe to toe with the best of them. Is that something that you look for, or do you just reluctantly say, yeah, you know, home court advantage, whatever? Let's start with you, John. What do you think?
TLC, right?
TLC, yeah. When we're talking about the TLC, what would it mean for you?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I'd like to go and represent the West Coast. Like I said, I think most of those top 50 guys, they're good fishermen, you know, and I think for the guys that are, you know, I think they kind of have it down already. And for me, just go out there and, like my second day, just go fishing, you know. see what you could do your best, just try your strongest strengths, and just go with it.
Very
What
cool.
about you, John?
A bass is a bass is a bass. Okay. You'll catch them however, they're predators. So, something, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to open a number 10 can of whoop bass on those guys.
Oh,
there you go.
I like it.
That's what I want to hear.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
I don't show up just to play, man. I show up to win. I dream about winning. I tell myself I'm going to win every tournament. When I show up, I know I'm going to win the tournament. That's my attitude.
I like it. I like it.
If I get beat, hey, something, I'm happy for you guys, man. Way to go, and I'm proud of you guys, But man, I tell you what, I'm bringing number 10 can, and I'm going to open that sucker up, and I'm going to do some, you know what?
Watch out.
That's the way
John
I see it. Yeah, I just don't show up to play. I show up to win. And that's the attitude you got to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's true.
You got to have that attitude.
So from here for the rest of the year, Oh, go ahead.
Can you put me on in the back again? This phone's is really you guys are lagging and stuff, and I gotta plug in this charger. All right,
no problem. Go ahead.
1 minute. Sorry.
So now that you're like 1 for 1, you've won money in your first event. What do you have going on the rest of the year? Are you going like, dude, I got second place in the first tournament I ever fished. Now that's all I'm going to do from here on out.
What's funny is I told myself I wasn't even going to compete this year because I wanted to break in my Outback first and really get used to the thing and upgrades and whatnot. But like I said, when I saw that Hobie was coming to the Delta, I was like, let me go ahead and do this. But I mean, after this event,
it's easy.
I wish, but I think I'm probably gonna take a break and really just focus on just do the TOC, but more than likely get prepared for next year, and really put it on for next year.
Cool. How about you, John? Besides the TOC, what else are you going to fish this year, or are you fishing?
So check this out. I fish team tournaments in a bass boat. My buddy's name is Don Longton. He's 80 years old. Okay, we work hard as a team. We do really well together. I just got back from Clear Lake. I fished the one bass pro-am. I fished as an am. I had a chance to win that. I came in 6th. Last weekend I fished a BBT tournament at the Delta with my team partner Don. We came in 4th place. The very next day I went to Don Pedro in a kayak. I came in 5th place. This weekend, a weekend later, I fished 2 days at the Delta in a kayak. I came in 3rd place. I'm heading to Clear Lake in 2 weeks to fish the B.O.S, and I'm going to win that baby.
John's ready to retire, man.
Gotta love the confidence.
You're going full time.
Hey, I work
kicking bass, taking names.
All right.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. I work 5 days a week. I got to take vacation whenever I can. I get 25 days a year. I use every one of them fishing. I fish Saturday, Sunday. I don't care what time of the year it is, summertime, wintertime. I love fishing. It's just, it's a stress relief. It gets me in a great mood. I can't wait to go to Clear Lake. Clear Lake fishing, if the Hobie comes back, they should go to Clear Lake. This place is phenomenal. If you want to catch a 20-pound limit and show up at the weigh-in and get way to go, that's where you do it. And you better have 30 pounds because you're not going to get an attaboy. Yeah. That place is a phenomenal fishery. A little easier to fish than the Delta. The Delta's quite a bit more difficult to fish and figure out. And I got to ask Pal a question. So when you were fishing down south, I pre-fished down south, and the pattern I found was, like you're saying, the hydrilla. And did you find yourself fishing the outgoing water all day?
Yeah, well, I think the tournament was both days was outgoing tide, but that's my favorite type of tide to fish anyways in general. So
Right.
yeah, so I think it was easier for me to pick a fish, pick apart these fish on the outgoing tide. But yeah. Were you
Did you
in
go
the
over the
West
levee?
Delta? No, I did not go. I think a few guys
Yeah, I
went.
was at Big Break.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, I went
Okay, yeah. So
west.
you're
I went west
yeah,
from the
Fabian
marina.
and
Right, yeah, yeah.
yeah, Fabian. Yeah. I pre-fished in there. I caught some nice fish in there, and
Hmm.
on the second day when it was really nasty, windy, the rain came in and lightning and
Yeah.
thunder. I was driving by Tracy Boulevard, and I thought to myself, you better pull in there, because when you get the big break and that wind's blowing and that tide's out, you're not going to catch nothing. And that's what I was worried about was big break area. Low tide with the wind blowing.
Right.
You're done. You're done.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
nothing. It's almost impossible to fish, especially if the waves start rolling in there. But I knew the tide
Yeah.
was going to come in, and it
Hmm.
should settle down over there. And anyways, yeah, I scouted out that area, and I like fishing Fabian, and I like
Hmm.
fishing over that levee. You got
Yeah.
that to yourself. You got to deal with a little bit of skiers. That's the only thing.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, good job, man. I'm really proud
Hey,
of you
thanks,
guys.
man.
I wish
Same,
yeah,
Daniel.
Daniel, right? Daniel,
Yeah.
or
Daniel.
I wish Daniel was here, man. I want to pick that guy's brain.
I do too.
Congratulations to Daniel on his
I want to
win.
know how. Yeah, congratulations, man. That guy dominated.
I mean, he
really.
smashed it day one,
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
14
Yeah.
inches he won by. So yeah.
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 It just
He
sometimes
really
that dang
smashed it,
work gets right in the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did too. Yeah, I'm new to this kayak thing, and something, I love it. I really do love it. It's you against the fish, you against the nature, and you don't have a team partner or like a pro-am or whatever. It's kind of, you don't talk to anybody. But man, I tell you what, I'm not throwing to sound crazy or nothing, but when I'm catching a whole bunch of fish on a chatterbait and it's not helping, I'm like, all right, dude, you need to put that down, and you better go figure something else out, because you're just spinning your wheels, and I just, I had to really work hard. I paddled for like an hour to get to my next spot in super shallow water. I could have actually jumped out of the kayak and drug the kayak, but it's so sooted that probably would have went over my head. But I mean, I could see the bottom in most places. Of course, you can't get out of the kayak anyhow. But anyhow, it was a great experience. Hobie put on a great event.
They really do.
No.
Yeah, the tournament director, TJ, RJ,
AJ.
McWater.
AJ. All right.
Yeah, he does an amazing job.
He did a great
Yeah.
job.
He does.
Yeah. I called him Sunday morning, and he answered his phone, and I said, AJ, hey, it's lightning thunder. I got 20-mile-an-hour winds right here, right now. Are we gonna delay launch? Are we on? He goes, something? I'm sending an email right now. Your best discretion. Be safe. Number one. He said all the right things. Safety first. It's you do the right thing. Certain areas of the Delta didn't have these conditions. I saw a bolt of lightning go from my far left to my far right, all the way across the sky, and 4 lightning bolts touched ground. Okay, and
scary
2-3 seconds later, you heard this crackle, snap, pop, and everything vibrated. You know, it was intense. And I kind of chuckled too, because I'm like, really, dude? You're out here, you got 8 lightning rods behind you, and you're on the Delta, right?
It's like telling the lightning, here, look at me.
Yeah.
You know this.
Right,
You know
right.
this
Yeah.
this that was very uncommon for this time of the year, or actually,
Yes.
yeah, this time of the year in California. It felt like we were in Midwest for whatever reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't get these type of conditions here, and that really just, I think that threw off a lot of anglers.
How do you think it
Yeah.
affected the bite, that weather? Because I know I've, for experience, I love to fish after a nasty thunderstorm.
I do
There's
too.
a lot of rain, a lot of wind. It turns off that water, cools it off. And the experience that I've gotten is the bite is, it sometimes turns it off. But when it turns it on, woo, you're going to have a great day.
That's right.
So how do you think it affected the bite after, those rolling thunderstorms that you got?
You know, so I caught, I think three of my keepers before the initial, and then once it got really windy and there was lightning everywhere, it kind of slowed down for me actually. I was thinking, pick up the chatterbait, but I told myself, you know what, let's just, keep it slow and go. But I think it really killed the bite for me during the storm for whatever reason. You would think that it would fire. I was thinking it was gonna be fire for some guys. They were gonna capitalize during this moment, but I guess it didn't pan out that way.
Do you think that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
I actually heard the craziest thing watching MLF the other day. Marty Stone said that whenever there's lightning, that the fish suspend. That if they were on bottom or on top, whenever there's lightning, the fish suspend. I don't know if that's the biggest bunch of BS I ever heard. That man's and he's better than me, so it's got to be true.
But I think, do you think, Paul, if you would have switched to a fast moving bait like a chatterbait or swim bait, do you think it would have? I mean, granted, glad you didn't, because you ended up doing the power move of the tournament. But do you think it would have picked up? Because I usually, when I see that, my first instinct is jerk baits, chatterbait, crank baits. That's what they're going to go after, because they're going to be lining it up. So I'm surprised you stay with the slow finesse style.
Yeah, so what was funny was I wanted to pick up a reaction bait, but then I just told myself for whatever reason that it just, that I'm just gonna fish slow, and there wasn't really any room for me to throw a reaction bait anyways, with the tide being halfway going out already, because a lot of the hydrilla was showing and clumping up already. So I mean, I could have worked the outside grass lines, but I didn't want to do that either. I just wanted to hit high percentage areas was my target, so but I think, I Armando, I really do wonder if that would have turned on had I gone reaction, which I normally would do. So
yeah.
And John, he went the other way. He went double buzz bait.
Yeah, the day before I had a whopper plopper on. Here, I got it right here.
With the trailer hook.
So if you look at this whopper plopper, you notice anything different about it?
Yeah, that back hook. Or both the hooks, yeah.
Yeah, I got
frog hooks.
I got frog hooks on it, so I could run it through the grass, right?
That's interesting.
Throwing that whopper plopper.
That's a good idea.
There's a little juice right there. Put frog hooks on your whopper plopper.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
It goes through the grass really well. It really does, and it gives that plop, 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 and you can run it through almost anything. Okay. The fish
I'm seriously stealing that from you.
For me. Yeah. The fish that hit it the first day were knocking it out of the water, and I was like, what the heck, maybe these hooks are the wrong idea. And then I finally caught one. It was like a 13-inch fish. and it jumped and got off right at the boat. So I said to myself, I'm going to tie on this double buzz. You can't go wrong with this baby right here, right? So lightning, thunder, dark skies. I heaved this thing as long as I could until I finally told myself, all right, you need to put it up. So when I launched out of the break marina, I stayed in the marina for the first 15 minutes. I paddled as fast as I could, and I covered the whole marina. Besides, if you come out of the launch to the right, I went to the left, around the corner, and there's these boats and stuff. I ran in there in 15 minutes, fished the whole thing. I caught one fish, 13 and a half inch fish. I took a picture of it in the dark, right? Took another picture of it, threw the fish back. Then I looked at my picture. It was blurry. You couldn't even barely see the fish, much less the board, right?
Yeah.
So, live and learn on all these mistakes. I went around the corner throwing it, and I threw it, and I threw it, and I threw it. And fish were popping at it, but they were little fish. I was getting some action, but I was like hoping, I need a 5-pounder. I need a 6-pounder. I need an 8-pounder. I need something that's going to be big. I got to catch up, and it just didn't work. So I put it up and I picked up that chatterbait, and because of the thunder and the lightning and the crackle, until it stopped doing that, I couldn't catch a fish. And I finally got over to the bluegill bed, and it took me at least an hour and a half to get there. And that's a full-on paddle, all right, or pedaling, full-on pedaling, nonstop. Besides, I hit a few berms on the slack side of a couple berms. I couldn't get bit, and all my good water, the fish weren't biting. And I'm thinking, this thunderstorm's definitely got the fish shut off. So I picked up a Cinco, all right? I threw it by a Thule, and I get hammered, and there's nothing there. And I get hammered again, there's nothing there. I reel that thing in, and I put it away. You know what I mean? Because there's small fish ticking at it, you know what I mean? So I finally get over to the good area, and I started catching fish after fish after fish after fish. But it wasn't until the lightnings and thunder stopped. I don't remember if you remember when it downpoured and those big drops and all that happened.
Yeah.
Okay, the tide was low. All right, it was like 105 degrees out, and it was raining, and I was paddling and trying to make it back. The rain was a welcome. I liked it.
Well, there you go. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time. We want to give both of y'all, before the end of it, we always want to give everybody an opportunity to shout out any sponsors, anybody that makes fishing easier for you. Pua, we'll start with you, man. Congratulations on second place. And is there anybody you'd like to thank? Probably your wife for that Outback, huh?
Yeah, man. I think my number one thank you goes to my wife, man. I mean, she besides getting me an Outback for my birthday, she's the reason why I can go out. She takes care of the kids, and
that's right.
While I get to come out and play and do the event. So big thanks to her and my kids. And I want to give a shout out to Ying Yang and Ghost Company. These guys, they give me the support. So I just want to give a big shout out to them, man.
You got lagged off a little bit. Could you repeat the name of it? I don't think we got it.
Yeah. So shout out to Yin Yang Bulldogs, LNC Automotive, and Ghost Company for just supporting me. And let's see.
Love it when those companies support the anglers.
Yeah,
that's right.
And and my brother Say, and my brother-in-law Tony. I mean, when I got the kayak, I didn't even have a truck. So my brother and my brother-in-law, whenever I needed their trucks, they came through for me.
I hear some paperwork over there. You got like an Academy Award kind of.
Yeah, I had to write these down.
Yeah, family names Say and Yay.
Say and Tony.
Oh, well, you said Yay earlier, right?
Yay. No, Ying Yang Bulldogs. Yeah.
I got you. All right. Well, how about you? Yeah. How about you, John? I see you got that super clean hat. I like that.
Yeah, first, Dan, I'd like to thank you and Paddle and Fin, for putting on this show. Really appreciate that. Super Clean, all right. Super Clean took me on as a sponsor. I really appreciate their product. I appreciate what they do for me. St. Croix Rods, years ago, I had an opportunity to join their staff, and they have some great equipment. Stage Shop in Atwater. He's a good buddy of mine. He has it's a gun shop. They have archery. They got fishing. They have a gun range. The guy there that runs it's a really good guy. RC Fishing. He's a guide. Ryan Cook. He's a guide on the Motherlode Lakes. The first time he ever went bass fishing was with me, and he says I'm his mentor. Well, actually, I just basically gave him a little bit of info, and he went from there. He's a great guy. He's a party in the boat. If you want to go out and have a good time and spend a little money on a guide trip, Ryan Cook Fishing, you want to call him and contact that guy. He's really good. Headwaters, Kayak and Headwaters Adventure. They're great customer service. That's where I got my kayak. Headwaters Kayak and Lodi. Dan Arbuckle, a great guy, super guy. Headwaters Adventure in Reading, Brian, he's the man. Wild West Bass Trail, they really helped me out with Super Clean, and they stepped up this year, started a kayak circuit. I recommend fishing that kayak circuit. It's really good people. Their payback is phenomenal. For $100, they pay back 90%. You can't get that anywhere. The bass tournaments that I fish, they're around 56%. I figured it all out, and Wild West by far pays the best, and that's the trail you really want to fish. Hobie Open Bass Series. Something, I want to thank Hobie and for all they did. It was a great experience. The first time I ever fished their event. I really enjoyed it. It's professionally ran. I kind of missed getting everybody together at the end and talking and stuff. I was the only one that launched there, and I was the only one that was fishing around there. And when I took out and put in, I didn't have no one to talk to. I love to talk, obviously. And again, Dan, I really appreciate the opportunity and great job on first and second place, man. I wanted to really open up that can of whoop ass on everybody. The number 10 can, I think, was more like a number 8 can. So, next time I'm opening up the number 10 can. And if you know what number 10 can is, like a gallon-sized can. Okay?
Yeah.
One of these little things.
Costco size. Well, we appreciate you guys, and hopefully we'll have you on for too long, and we'll talk about the TOC and y'all go over there and kick butt, man. Good luck.
Hey, thanks for having us, Dan and Armando.
Yeah,
thank you guys, and again, we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the TOC representing the West Coast, man. I know we don't get a lot of you out there. I know geographically, it's harder. There's a lot of land in between, the Midwest and the West Coast where there's not really bass fishing. So I know it's harder for you anglers to get noticed out here, but there's some great hammers out there, and we're glad that you guys did a good showing. We're glad that we got some West Coast rep here, and again, good luck on the TOC. We look forward to see what's up, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Armando. Appreciate it.
No problem. My pleasure, John. Thank you for joining us.
There we go. Well, there we go. Another got to talk to them, and now we, like always, we like to go over all the tournaments, all the live tournaments that we had around the country with 30 or more anglers. And if you ever want to highlight a club that you don't quite meet 30 anglers, just message me or Jimmy, and we'll be more than happy to get you on. And like event I fished with Iron City, I only had 27. I'm really glad I don't have to talk about that tournament. But first, we will talk about the Paddle and Fin Angler of the Pod. Congratulations, Sam. We had our whole, we had our Spring Madness that turned into Summer Madness event. And here and probably tomorrow, we're going to be announcing the winners of over $3,000 in prizes. Huge prize pack, 7 people who have filled out the best bracket. So whenever we do that again, I know we are going to do it again. I think next time it's going to be swapped up some, might not just be hosts. Or we have some other things in the work. I know Brian's working on something, so we'll definitely be giving out a lot more prizes with that next time. So definitely fill out your bracket next time. So first up, we had the bass event on the Mississippi River up in La Crosse. Had 123 anglers. That was definitely the big tournament of the week. Oh. Congratulations, Barry Davis. One-day tournament, 88 inches. And I know he's been all over KBN. He was on One Objective yesterday, so he's making the rounds. Congratulations, him. Joey Vano with 87 inches. Brady Stores with 87. Mike Elsey, the champ, with 86 3/4, and Zach Gibbons with 85.5 inches. Next up is, and I cannot say this word for the life of me, Massachusetts. I probably said that wrong. I usually say Massachusetts. I don't mean that mean. I don't know how to say it. I'm from Mississippi. I'm sorry. I won't say it again. Kayak Bassin. They had their 3-lake throwdown, 31 anglers. Joseph Diedo with 89 inches, Valber Santos with 81 inches, and Wally Utich with 81 inches. I'm saying your names wrong. I'm sorry. Don't send me a mean email. Ontario Kayak Bass Trail on
Massachusetts is going to send you an email.
On Rondu, I can't say that. Like Worcestershire, some people can't say that. I'm probably saying that wrong too. I don't know, man. But Ontario Kayak Bass Trail on Rondu Bay. Ronadu Bay? It's French, so I'm definitely saying that one wrong. 51 anglers. Rob Baginski, 87 3/4. Michael Morin with 87 3/4 as well. And Richard Offner, that dude's a hammer, 87 1/4. Next up, Virginia Kayak Trail on Little Creek Reservoir and Lake Smith, 29 anglers. 29, I slid them in there. Michael Hill, 85 inches. Travis Belcher in second with 80 inches. And Mark Gemo with 79 inches. Next up, New York KBF on Honeo Lake. That's probably right. 56 anglers, 3 fish limit. First place, Jim Collin, 50 1/4. John DeKay with 49 inches, and then Joshua Brewster with 48 3/4. And then North Alabama Kayak Anglers, they had their river stop, and they only had 38 anglers, which usually, that's crazy because their tournaments are usually 75 plus people. It's definitely the biggest club in the state. Randall Wallace, he just won the BASS qualifier a week before last on Gunnersville, and then he won this one with 59 1/4. 3 fish tournament, 3 fish limit as well. Coley McGowan with 58 inches and Michael Cooper with 55 1/2. And then Michigan Kayak Trail State Championships 2-day event, 46 anglers. First place was Travis Terry, 184 1/4. Steve Eastman with 175, and Brandon Bissell with 166. And last but not least, Topwater Trail Series had their Traverse Series opening. Congratulations, Topwater. Number 2 ranked kayak.
Yeah, I saw that.
Podcast. I've listened to it before. It's good. So, yeah, they had their trail. We don't have a trail. They have a trail. Maybe we should have a trail. We'd be number 2. They had 39 anglers. First place was Travis Terry, 96 inches. Patrick DeGeis with 84 1/2. And David Kerner with 84 inches. And that's it. Congratulations to all the winners. And, yeah. There you go. And the big news, we probably should have talked about this at the beginning. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but the Kayak Bass Bracket Trail had a big announcement night tonight. Did you see that?
I saw the post on it. I was recording little self-promotion. I was recording with Frankie Polifrone. Slay Nation. I'm going to have him Wednesday. That show is going to air Wednesday. He has a great charity event, as always, but this one is really good. I mean, it's a hard situation. It's something we don't want to see, but the charity is a very good cause, as always. So we're going to be talking about that and his kayak series, which debuts next year. So look forward to that. And real quickly, I wanted to give a shout out to my trail, the Slay Nation Trail here in Texas. Gary Peck and Matt Biles. Yeah, Gary Peck and Matt Biles, the team, they won first place. Ty Moses, I got the easiest names now. I don't have a hard job like you did. He won second place, and Matt Wallace, he ended up with third place. I ended up with the big bass of the day. It was tough conditions, 106, not heat index. That's just the regular temperature that was that day. And it had to be like 1,000 or boats just going and coming. We had Grapevine Lake, which is more of a pleasure boater lake than a fishing lake. And I mean, between sailboats, big yachts, power boats, jet skis, bass boats, we must have had 1,000 or more boats on the water. It's not a big lake at all. So it was a horrible day for fishing, but we got it done.
Get that big bass.
I got the big bags. I got it at 8 o'clock. I got it at 7 o'clock. I started at 6. 7:05, I got the big bass. And I could just see the parade of boats just lining up at the ramp. And I'm like, if I don't make my limit before 8 o'clock, I'm done. And sure enough, it was, I didn't get my limit after 8 o'clock. It was just boats galore, man. It was horrible. But anyways.
But the kayak
KBF, yes.
They announced they're having a whole new trail. First time ever. The kayak, like NFL, it's KFL, Kayak Fishing League. And what it's going to be is a captain can create a team with 8 people in a state or city. Each person's going to put up $500. You're going to have 6 regular season events, 3 in your home area, so on your home waters, and they're all live events, and 3 in a neighboring state, whatever region you're in. Let's say you're in the Southeast, you get put. Like if I'm in Alabama and I'm going to start a team, I'm going to be a coach. I want to do it. I'm ready. I've sent out messages. I'm ready. I'm putting together a team. But like let's say we're going to fish against Georgia. I'll select 4 people on whatever body of if 3 tournaments at home, 3 tournaments away. So like 3 home games, 3 away games, and all the tournaments are going to be called games. So I'll select 4 people to go fish Georgia. Let's say they're fishing Lake Lanier. I want people who can fish spots deep, things like that. Maybe 1 river guy if I think there's going to be a river bite. And it's going to be either they haven't decided yet, but either the best 5 or 10 fish limit for the whole team. So it's a team effort. It's not individual. So 3 home events, 3 away events, some playoffs for your region, and then for your division, kind of like AFC, NFC, NFC East, NFC South. So it'll be like that, depending on how many teams there are. And then we'll have a neutral water championship, so like a Super Bowl of fishing. Yeah, so it's going to be a whole new trail. It's starting June next year. You can do it by city, you can do it by state. So put together your teams and get with the KBBT and get signed up. $500 a person, and a lot of clubs, like a lot of groups. It's going to be like you can have your own jerseys, you can have your own teams and logo and colors, and like really promote the heck out of it. And kind of an idea I had was, I think that in my state, probably not for the first year, but we have a bunch of clubs in our state. So I think we should have an all-star Alabama team where all the different clubs in the state, their angler of the year goes on the state team. Yep. So every year, people in all the clubs in the state, not only do you win angler of the year, but whenever you win angler of the year, you also get put on the state team. So the people in the state, they have somebody to root for and something to go for, another goal for that state level tournament. And I just think it's super interesting idea. We'll see how it works out. And there's a whole lot of details to be fleshed out and a lot more information coming on that. But minimum, Greg is always really good. He's going to charge the least amount of fees. He's not going to hold any money back to try to make money off this thing. It's he'll pay for the fees, and everything else is going to the anglers. So, it's going to be something very interesting. Even the guys out west, if you're watching out in California, it would be tough to do it with. But I mean, you could fish against Washington, Oregon, Arizona. If those people start up a division, and you can get enough clubs out there to do it. I mean, California, hell, you could have 100 teams just from California because there's so many people. But yeah, I mean, you could have Team Sacramento, Team Lodi, Team, Bay Area, whatever you want to do. You can have all those teams and do that too, and then come over here and compete. And we do it on neutral water and see who the best in the country is. Let's
I'm telling you,
it sounds cool, man.
Greg Nozar is. I give props to Greg Nozar. He's onto something, man. He's shaking things up. He's thinking outside the box. It came at the right time with the whole pandemic thing, where things were kind of put on the shelf as far as tournament scene goes. The way we knew, the way we are used to thinking about a tournament. And Greg is, I don't know if it's going to work or not. I hope it does. He's putting up. There's a bunch of hammers out there that just don't have the ability to travel. Let's say like Cody Milton, Ron Snyder, and props to them. They can do it. I'm a fan of watching Cody Milton, Ron Snyder. Take nothing away from them. But there's a lot of other hammers out there that are not getting noticed just because they can't travel that much and all that. And he's putting them on the map. He's getting them the recognition they deserve. They're getting out there. They're getting sponsored. So, I'm looking forward to what Greg does. It's outside the box. It's new. As far as the kayak or even basketball tournament scene it's revolutionary. So I'm sure I said that word wrong.
No, it's all right. But
we're both struggling.
But think about some of his teams. Yeah. Like in Tennessee, you could have Steve Owens, Ryan Lambert, I think Christine and AJ now live in Tennessee. Russ Snyder's, Adam Reiser, Tomlinson. You could have, dog, man.
It's giving Bassmaster, is giving Hobie, and it's giving KBF something to think about because and it's a shame that technology is not there yet. And I know Scott Butcher.
George Marshall. Sorry, that's that name.
Yeah. Scott Butcher, I know he has something in the works. You haven't heard a lot from Scott Butcher, but I have complete faith in that guy. Yeah. I think he's coming up with something big. I know he's trying to make some moves to blow this thing wide open as well. So I'm excited for the future of kayak fishing tournament scene, man. Again, I'm a big fan of what Greg Nozar is doing. Anything that shakes things up and opens more avenues for people to monetize and maybe in the future make a living out of this, I'm all in for it, man.
Yep. Very cool. Well, another great episode. Thank you for being on with me tonight, Armando. And
thank you. I know disappointing to the ladies out there. Didn't get to see Jimmy today.
Oh, my
best. Brad Hicks apparently is disappointed that Jimmy's not here, but whatever.
Brad's a
shout out to Brad.
Yeah, well, we'll have Jimmy back again next week. He's down at the beach with the family. But yeah, man, thank you. As always, thanks to everybody for listening, and wear your PFDs. Be safe out there.
Tight lines, y'all.
Have a good night.
Good night.